the Patreon pick this week, as requested by Netagant, thank you for the request, was the 2004 film Hellboy. And if you also want to get your movie in our queue and watched and reviewed by us, go to guapish.com/Patreon or patreon.com/Guapish. $1 a month to get your movie in the queue, and we'll watch it eventually, just like Netagant did. Tanner, please describe the plot of this movie for us.
Okay, so Hellboy is the story of Hellboy. He is a demon type thing who is summoned by Nazis, but then raised in the United States, and he becomes a paranormal investigator. One day he's investigating like a break-in at a museum and gets attacked by a strange creature. He discovers the creature is actually part of a resurrected Nazi plot to open a portal and bring forth some eldritch gods, and Hellboy stops them. The end. Fun fact. Jesus, this is a long fun fact. At their first meeting, Hellboy's creator, Mike Mignola, and the director of this film, Guillermo del Toro, decided to say their preferred actor for Hellboy at the same time, and they both said Ron Perlman.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Tanner, what do you rank this film?
Right now, I am sitting at a flat B.
Oh, not too bad. They should call this film Swell Boy, because I thought it was pretty swell. I'm at a B-.
I'm also at a flat B.
Huh. I'm at a C-.
Okay. Jesus.
Interesting. Unless you want to kick us off and why you didn't like it so much?
Yeah, I didn't really like the puppets in this movie. It was, like, I don't know, because the costuming looked fine, the design of the Hellhound looked fine, but just, I guess in the action sequences, it didn't look great. And then also just the entire, like, intro, like, the CGI and everything in the beginning of it just didn't look great either. And also the CGI throughout the rest of it just didn't keep up. I thought the acting was okay. I like Hellboy as a character, but the movie felt insanely slow-paced to me. And I am very much comparing it to the second movie, which I realized I like substantially more. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was not super engaging for me, I guess.
Personally, I thought it was fine. You know, I had a fun time with it. I liked how fragile the characters felt. Definitely felt that there was stakes with some of it. I think the actual costumes for Hellboy and the fucking fish guy was fine. Some of the CG was not super great. You know, I think it's pretty whatever for 2004. Like, the enemies I don't think looked that bad. The fucking big tentacle guy didn't look that bad. For 2004, you know, it was pretty acceptable for the time. I will agree, it definitely does feel a little slow. I feel like the pacing isn't super consistent throughout. Definitely has its pulls. But for the most part, I think it's a fun movie. I didn't dislike it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the puppetry, special effects, all of it's perfectly serviceable in this film. Fight scenes can definitely leave a bit to be desired. They're not particularly outstanding or anything like that, but it's a fine enough film. Like, it's not actively bad at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty entertaining. I really like Hellboy. I think Ron Perlman, as I pointed out in the fun fact, is the perfect choice for this character.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Abe Sapien. I think he's a fun character as well. And it's mostly just a pretty normal thing. Personally, I like the practical effects. I thought those were good and helped me actually want to pay attention to what was going on. I like the style of this movie overall. In terms of, like, it's they gave it a very noir style. Like, everything's taking place at night and there's, like, dim lights everywhere and all that kind of stuff. My only major complaint is, like, the CGI, which does look dated, but aside from that, like, I think it's a perfectly serviceable and fun film.
Dude, why do you have to smack the girl at the end for her to do her fire powers? Wasn't the emotional distress of Hellboy getting mangled by those hellhounds enough for her to ignite?
No.
I guess not. I don't know. I am actively looking at my list, and I'm like, well, I am looking at some of these movies, and I'm like, well, I certainly would much rather watch this over The Blob, and I put this higher, so I'm gonna keep going. But, like, I think a big problem is I was very heavily comparing this to the second movie, and I don't I don't know if I think this might be one of those movies I never watched all the way through because there were just bits and pieces I do not remember, but I do definitely remember watching the second one multiple times. But yeah, I just don't remember the practical effects and the special effects and all. They were okay. I think I might have just been too harsh. I think I let my negative brain take hold of reviewing this movie. And I think I let that dictate kind of just the overall. I do generally like the style of the movie. I do agree with that. I like Hellboy as a concept. I think he's a very cool character, and I think the way he handles situations is very well, and there's no rabbit pulled out of the hat in any of these scenarios. It's pretty, it's figured out pretty well.
I can't wait for us to review the second one and we think it's just absolute trash.
Yeah.
That would be so much. I do genuinely think the second movie is so much better than this one. Honestly,
I'm gonna look up if it's also directed by Guillermo del Toro, and if it's not, you're almost certainly wrong.
I guess so, dude. Or me, I don't know. It's been a minute. I also just don't know anything about the aspect of the movie, but
It is still Guillermo del Toro, so who knows? Maybe you're right, and it is much better.
I do genuinely think it will be. So I'm excited for. I honestly thought I picked this movie for this week, and I forgot a lot of facts about the movies this week, but whatever.
Overall, unfortunately, not a whole lot to say. It's a pretty normal movie.
Dude, second fun fact, Ron Perlman was even more perfect than everyone already thought, because they were thinking they might have to change which hand was, the right hand of Doom.
Yeah.
But it turns out Ron Perlman is left-handed anyway.
Yay.
That's pretty sick.
Oh, yeah.
Glad it worked out for him.
Yeah. Tanner, did you end up reading any of the graphic novels for this?
I read the 2 runs of the graphic novel that most directly correlate to the movie, and they're all right, I guess.
Okay.
I wasn't super into them, and they basically took 2 different storylines and just kind of hodgepodge them together into one plot for the movie, and so it's tough to really analyze it in that way, because as comics are pretty disconnected from each other, but then all these elements are combined for the movie,
Fascinating.
I do think some of the fight scenes are fun. I also do like the main. I think it's kind of a little sucky that some of the main threats are just the same fucking creature over and over and over again. But I do like that they actually do feel like they have they are a threat. It's not like everything just gets fucking trounced, which is nice.
Yeah, it's something that we see Hellboy have a hard time dealing with just one of them, and we see how many fucking eggs they've created so quickly.
Yeah, it definitely makes you feel like there's stakes, which I do appreciate. And I do think it was very funny, I mentioned it was the flying crane, crouching tiger, whatever the fuck the name of that movie was, effects where people get punched and they just go flying and it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I thought those were lots of scenes like that, and I thought they were all funny. I also do think some of the comedy worked. It is a silly little movie, but it's nothing crazy to write home about.
Lots of Hellboy's just blank stares were very funny, reacting to someone saying something fucking stupid. I also liked Hellboy's big gun. That was fun.
Oh yeah, gotta love it. Always gotta love it with the old reliable.
Well, fellas, is that all we've got for Hellboy?
I think it is.
Yay! I'm sticking my B-.
I'm sticking at my B.
Sticking at my B.
I was being a little too harsh, and after reviewing some of the movies, and if I'd want to watch this movie over some of these other ones, I came to the conclusion that I'll just give it a B-.
Whoa.
And it lands at a B. How exciting.
Yay.
Very exciting, in fact.
Whoa.